I work specifically with, oops, this is not to play. So I work specifically with humanitarian data. But I wanted to ask you guys, out of the top of your head, if you know, um, what is the number of fatalities from the Syrian conflict, if you have that fresh in your head, or if you've been reading newspapers lately? If anyone has a ballpark of how many people have died. Yeah, 50, I heard 50, 100,000 people, I assume. 300,000. So I mean, now, more interestingly, where does that data come from? I mean, who's telling you that? So I work exactly with those kind of questions, and I am part of an initiative inside the United Nations called Humanitarian Data Exchange. And what we're trying to do is to make all of that data openly available. So we work a lot on creating the data pipelines and making sure that we get all that data, and all the data is available for anyone in the public without logins or anything like that. So HTX has a number of initiatives. The publicly accessible one is a repository of datasets that you can go and visit. I'll show you the URL at the end. And right now, we're still kind of a very skimpy project inside the UN, so we're very poor, so we don't have a lot of resources. So please bear with us. If you find a bug, please report on our GitHub account. But we're right now have about 3,000 data sets from about 24 different humanitarian crises around the world. So it's if you've ever used a public data repository, it's very similar. It's a CCAN instance, if you guys know anything about open data management softwares. And you can find resources from geographic data sets, regular tabular files. All of them have to be openly licensed, so you can use them for free. A lot of them have publicly accessible APIs, so you can actually get the data from inside the actual resource of the data set and create visualizations with them. They're all organized on huge UN organizations like the WFP, which collects real-time or near real-time data of food prices around lots of markets around the world, or smaller organizations, such as, I mean, this is not a very good example, but small organizations like university research groups that they conduct their research in a particular town, and they want to display that data publicly. So we have a couple of thematic pages, such as the Ebola outbreak. So at the time of the Ebola outbreak, which is still technically not over, you can go and fetch some important data from the WHO as well as university research groups and whatnot, and proceed to your analysis or creating your web apps. And we worked a lot to create kind of a completely open API. So you can use an API key and things like that, but everything is pretty much open, so you don't really need it. And you can get both metadata of resources and the data from inside resources. So let's say we have a resource such as a CSV file or a geographic data. You can actually get the tiles if it's geographic data, or the data rows if it's a CSV by querying our API. The good thing is that folks like Google have used it. So at the time of the peak of the Ebola outbreak, it could, if you search number of people that have died out of Ebola, you probably find a little graph on your Google result page that had that information, so you could use it. As well as folks like the New York Times or other newspapers who created really nice products and visualizations out of it. Now, I think this is the part that I always like the most, because a lot of people think that the UN is huge and there's a lot of people working in it. And this project probably has, I would say, 10 people working in it in 5 different countries. And there's only 2 data scientists in the project. So we always, and everything's open source, everything's highly collaborative. So one of the things that I always want to kind of display is that if you're part of a group that collects data or has any data that is relevant for this project, this kind of initiative, please come and share in HTX. It's kind of a Wikipedia. Anyone can come and share data. There's kind of a vetting process to make sure that the data has some sort of level of quality and it doesn't endanger people and that kind of stuff. But for most of it, it's pretty open. But more importantly, you can work with us. It's an open system, so you can come, and there are lots of technical tasks such as building data pipelines, scraping websites, and all those kind of things that would be really useful to have an extra hand. And for the most, please share the word and join the conversation. How you think this is useful? What are the limitations you find? And what's missing? Thank you.